There is a fifth dimension.
About the unknown.
Beyond that which is known to man.
The Garden of Thought.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace.
Unexplained.
Mythologies.
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call
The Garden of Thought with Jeff Lippman.
Eventually, our sun will grow cold and go out.
Whether a thought is spoken or not, it is a real thing, and it has power.
It won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe and Lao Tzu and Einstein. All of us was for nothing, unless we go to the stars.
Jokes Major Tom, the count goes on.
Whether a thought is spoken or not, it is a real thing, and it has power.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name.
The Garden of Thought.
Welcome, everyone, into another edition of Yes, It Is the Chronicles of Kwon, Part 2. So, Mr. Thomas still doing his Mr. Thomas stuff, doing fabulous things. I got to tell you, the man's been in Brazil at least twice. He's been to Cancun once. He's been to Miami Beach. I mean, Kwon, I know you work for the same company. How much they pay you guys over there?
Enough to do that, but
all right,
not enough that we can't talk shit about it, though. You know?
Okay, well,
I don't know what his schedule is. I said he takes vacations from breaks. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he lives in Europe or something, and the entire August is off. I mean, it's incredible. And I got to tell you that during the course of the year, it's like he's routinely like taking 4-day trips to Cancun and things like that. I mean, whatever else, I mean, obviously he's a top guy, but whatever else he does in his life, he must be very good at it.
And he works out like 6 hours a day. He sleeps 8 hours a day. Yeah, he's the only one with 30 hours. You know, I don't know. I don't know how he does it.
And has 4-hour-a-day flights to Cancun. Okay,
yeah.
Terrific. All right. Well, we also have a guest, and it's Joseph J. Alexander. Joseph, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a hell of a weekend, but I'm finally recovered.
How do you feel about being on episode 2 of the Kwon Chronicles?
I'm happy to be here. I love it.
It's exciting stuff. If you're not, I mean, you have the glasses on, but the mist will go through that. You need to understand that right away. It knows it's like quantum mist. It'll go through the screen. It'll go right through that.
I've gotten misted in the ring before. I know the deal.
All right. Joseph, tell the good folks a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to catch up with Kwon, what he's been doing for the last week or so.
I'm a 20-year veteran of the wrestling business. Started off doing ring announcing and commentary, worked my way up training to be a manager, and then booking and promoting and everything in between. And the past couple of years, while my company has been on a hiatus because my business partner's been going through some stuff, I've been hosting a few different podcasts over on the Full Circle Radio Network on YouTube and Spotify. We do a wrestling show called White Heat. I do a kind of a vlog type of thing called Catharsis. I have a blind draw movie podcast called Wildcard Cinema, and a YouTube analysis show called Brass Tacks.
All right. Well, it sounds like
that's how I stay busy.
Yeah, it's a 5-day schedule. All right. Well, Mr. MLW middleweight champion, you know, last we saw each other, we were saying goodbye to BRG. How's your week and a half been?
It's been good. It's been good. Been locking in now for Dallas. Excited about that, because in a serious note, I know what it means, and I know what I can make it mean. I think that's what I'm more excited about. So that's kind of where my head was at, especially like at the gym today. I was just like thinking about what my role is going to be, and how do I still stay in the driver's seat with it enough to kind of prove that there's some creative direction that I believe that if I'm able to really sink my teeth into, it's something that's gonna make some dollars. So that's the kind of the mindset I'm having now with it, is really trying to see how much I can milk this opportunity to make it, one, understood that it was the right move, and two, okay, like let's get more of this. So that's kind of where I've been feeling the last week or so. I think talking to BRG about the release and the things that he has going on now also is something that fueled me up kind of unexpectedly. Just hearing him have that tone, it's cool.
Hey, listen, I love when this show accidentally creates positive energies, even if it's me exaggerating and saying the GOT rub and all of that stuff. You know, I think mostly we have a lot of hard workers on. People who are inclined to say yes are generally good people, and good things are going to happen to them. Obviously, it's from their own efforts. But I was at the MLW show where you faced Mystico. And of course, then I watched it again when we did the review with Marie Shadows, who's also a friend of yours. Shout out to her. But that match was terrific. And Mystico is, by a lot of people's ratings, the best wrestler in the world, if not one of the best wrestlers in the world. I know a lot of people say the best in the world. You have like 4 people on Raw saying they're the best in the world, or different variations of it. But Mystico, definitely one of the best in the world. And blow for blow, toe for toe, that match was 50-50. That wasn't like, anybody carrying anybody's baggage. So I know good things for you. I know that we've got the evil alchemists working on the special formation of Saracen Mist to get that Templar. The Templars did lose in the end, both abroad and at home. Let's not forget that. So, I think it's your home court. I think that's a good thing for you. Joseph, you look like a man who might have dabbled with alchemy at some point. Do you have any tips for Ikuro and his mist? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to use the mist, but I'm not saying he's not going to use the mist. I mean, he's obviously not going to show you all of his cards.
I'm absolutely going to spit in his face if I get the opportunity to. There's no way. It might happen 4 times. I might miss him all match.
Damn it. I know Templario.
Read every line of text at least 3 times.
Okay.
Crowley liked to be very cryptic in what he wrote.
That's right. Crowley, LeVay, maybe get a little Blavatsky in there, maybe go a little bit further back at some Kabbalion. I don't know. Maybe talk to some, Kabbalah people and then some Sufis and, just get it all going. Go completely into the Mizo for the mist. Anyway, Joseph, another mutual friend, Lufisto, who I'm so pleased that I get to do the LFG show with her on the Wrestling Soup Network. I mean, it's been so much fun, and people actually listen to that show and love us as a combination, which is really amazing. I feel like I'm the Brian Last to her Jim Cornette, but she's the one who sort of put us together, and strangely enough, we already know each other.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through my timeline, and I saw that she mentioned something, and I was just like, I guess I should message Dose.
Yeah, I was mentioned to Kira earlier. It's like I'm exaggerating. I'm like, there's 1 million people in this business. I know 17 of them, and it turns out, and it puts us together. But it's all good. So you reached out because you have some paranormal stuff, within your vicinity. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Where do I begin?
The scary part.
The scary part? Oh,
you were the first one, the first paranormal experience where because I feel like there's sometimes like there's things that you are into or you're learning about or intrigued in at certain times. And then that's when you're more keen to to kind of feeling more energy and just kind of understanding like, it's not bullshit. This is, this stuff now you're kind of wanting to see what's going on. So I'm curious about that first time.
Oh, geez.
Or first conscious time.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, like early teens, I would always kind of see things out of the corner of my eye. And that's when I really started studying more so into things. That's when I started studying world religions and started reading tarot and all that stuff. And that just kind of, opens up a floodgate.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you get little whispers here and there. I'm kind of like a broken conduit. Like I can't make a direct connection, but I'll hear a thing here. I'll see a thing there. And then just the fact of where I am currently, my church is known as one of the most haunted places in New England. And I'm usually keeping an eye on it because I always have people contacting the website saying, can we do a paranormal investigation there? And I have to say no.
Yeah.
So wait, your church, but they're contacting you, so it really might be your church. So let's get into that a little bit, because like a haunted church, is that really a church? I mean, unless it's haunted with the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost. I mean,
Oh, very much. There's several websites dedicated to it. Here, I'll just if I can share something in the Zoom chat for you here, I'll send over the link.
It's fine. This is audio only. The Zoom is just for our convenience, so no one else will see it. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, just so I can send it over so you can see that I'm not bullshitting you.
I believe you. I wouldn't have booked you if I didn't believe you.
Let's see here.
No, we were talking about that with BRG because he's from Rhode Island and everything is just haunted.
Yeah, I know. Last time I saw BRG, he was still training. That's how long it's been since I've seen him. But yeah, there's just I just put a link in the chat there, just one of the sites like that lists it. But yeah,
Church of Eternal Light in Bristol, Connecticut.
Yep.
Wow.
So what denomination is this church?
It is the only pagan spiritualist church in the United States.
Excellent. So
yeah, it's where the witches all get together.
Right. So is it Wicca? Is it a Wiccan church, or is it just pagan writ large?
So all Wiccans are pagan, not all pagans are Wiccan. That's like a whole thing, it's, Wicca is a subsect of the neo-paganism movement, just like, Catholicism is part of Christianity. Yada, yada.
I know that, but Ikuro, did you know that?
No, it's like I hear things, but that's what we got firsthand experience here. This is where I'm going to know from the the real definitions of these things.
It's basically witchcraft, but
not
right.
Yeah,
all Wicca are Wiccan, but not all witches are Wiccans.
Right, exactly, because the actual practice of Wicca is only it's less than 100 years old. It was the actual term Wicca, and all the writings about it were done by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. Oh, so
it's all. Oh, that's wow.
Yeah, and everything before that is just all the old world religions, everything from the Celts to the Egyptians to the Buddhists to the Taoists to everything. So that building there, that particular building has been there since 1889. The original building on the property was much older, but it burned down in 1884. And there's a lot of activity up there, and people know about it because it's been featured on things. I think it was featured on the show Sightings back in the 90s on Fox. The Warrens have visited it. And we actually, because we practice paganism and spiritualism, we do things where we hold a seance once a year. That's, that, and give messages to those. And that's, it's a fun time. But it's also, there's, I've seen many things up there. I've talked to, quite a few ghosts, not had conversations, but talked to them because I've seen them to let them know that I know they're there and everything is fine. And I'm literally I'm on the executive board there. I keep the business part alive while the clergy takes care of all of the regular runnings. And I make sure that the place is secure so that, there's no vandalism and there's no kids running through the woods and all that stuff.
How many different types of clergy do you have? Because there's a whole lot of different paganisms and different traditions. And so what groups do you have actual clergy there for?
So actually all of our clergy are actually, we actually have a ministerial program that's been sanctioned by the state. It was written up by one of the pastors that passed a few years back. Well, more than a few years. He's been dead for 25 years. But he actually wrote an entire syllabus and had it approved because he actually went to theology school, not theology. He went to seminary school up in Massachusetts. So he formed this program. So when we have clergy, they actually go through a 7-year study program and they have to get accredited by the state and all that stuff. It's not just like a one and done on, sign this form online and you're a reverend. But yeah, and all of them kind of, have their own background study that they do. Some of them are more skilled in, Egyptian folklore. Some are more in tune with Strega, which a lot of people call gypsy. I myself, I study Celtic, Greek, Egyptian, and a little bit of Hindu. So fantastic. It's all over. Yeah.
That is fantastic. I have some, I didn't know we were going to go into this. I love comparative religion. I love comparative mythology. Yeah. I think paganism really gets a bad rap.
Oh, absolutely.
I think people say paganism and think Satanism. That's an entirely different story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to offend anyone out there, but I don't believe that there's actually a monotheistic religion out there, period. I just don't. And the reason for that is pretty simple. Just read their stuff. I mean,
Right.
no matter which religion you pick, you got a Godhead. You want the God of the Israelites. There are no other gods before me. Not there are no other gods. And you've got these angels who are immortal with powers, and there's also demons and monsters. So you've got one big God. Okay, then we move on to Christianity. You have a kinder, gentler version, but you've got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
No two churches agree on all of it, but they also have choirs of angels. They've got 9 different choirs of angels. You got demons, and you've got this guy named, let's just keep it simple, Satan, which is also a misnomer, but you got this guy Satan out there who God can't quite defeat, who's also immortal. And then even with Islam, you've got the jinn, and then you've got angels. The jinn are not angels. You do have a Iblis, which is sort of a satanic type figure, and you have demons as well. So these are immortal beings. I mean, sure, Zeus was the king of the gods, but there were lots of lesser gods and demigods and chimera monsters, and there were also giants. By the way,
and Zeus was only the king of the gods in that pantheon.
Exactly right. I mean, he wasn't even the first. There's 3 generations. But
right.
And then you have the Nephilim, and then, which may or may not have been the offspring of angels and human women, or may not just been the equivalent of giants. That's not important for the purposes of this conversation.
Right.
Quan's like, what the hell is this guy talking?
No, I know I'm not sleeping tonight. I know I'm going to be in like a lot of wormholes trying to just, Greek mythology used to just excite the hell out of me. And then like Greek mythology and then like Egyptian mythology. And then I remember in high school, I started reading about the Anunnaki and like just people and that type of thought. I remember one of my friends' dads, he was a Black Panther. And then he just talked a lot about that type of mindset. He used to hang out like KRS-One and them, and we talked about all just that freedom of thought and that inner being and the different dimensions. So like that type of thinking is just so fun. But I was 17. No one else wants to talk about that right now. So,
right.
So it was also kind of drifted off. But then I think like, then you smoke weed and wrestle, and then you kind of just get there, and then you figure it, and then you still, you find people and talk about it. Yeah. But, no, I'm into all that. I just wish I would learn more. So I'm going to be able to ask you guys for some references after this.
My show. I mean, it's an encyclopedia. I mean, just yesterday I talked to Mog Morgan, who's a British magician, practitioner of Egyptian magic and Vedic magic. And we talked mostly about Egyptian mythology, and he's done twice before. But, I mean, yesterday I was also texting with Professor John Hupps from University of Kansas, and I'm trying to figure out if there's any archaeological evidence of the 12 tribes of Israel. And he's like, aren't there 13? I'm like, well, whatever the numbers, is there any archaeological evidence that there was? I mean, I know Judea existed. I know there was a southern kingdom, but 12. And while we're at it, how about the 12 of Ishmael? Or is that just, the Islamic trying to, so like the Jews make Hanukkah as important as Christmas, but it really isn't. It's sort of invented, Ishmael's 12 to match Isaac's 12 or whatever. And he's like, well, that's not really my field, but here's a couple of people. So even among experts, there's other stuff, but it's frightening how much out there there's like no archaeological evidence or support of the Exodus. There's no archaeological evidence other than what people claim is Solomon's temple, that there even was a Solomon. There was a Saul. And there was David, that they know about. And Saul sort of sucked.
You think delivered to dead in school?
Yeah, it's the world's a crazy place. I love that this show sort of turning into the other GOT.
But anyways, circling back, yes, I've had many paranormal experiences, and like I can tell you right now, like there's 3 kind of spirits just up at that place that I know that are there that other people have seen as well. There's one of the old reverends from when it was still a Prospect Methodist Church way back in the 1800s, Reverend Eggleston. I actually found out who he was doing research and putting together the timeline of the church because we're trying to get it marked as a historical landmark. There's a guy by the name of Arthur who died after being struck by lightning on the front steps. He didn't die on the spot there. He died a few days later in the hospital. That was in around 1900. And there's also the ghosts of a couple of the little girls that were children there during when it was a Sunday school briefly in the late 1800s.
Wow. But they're all identified as people. Do you have any other spirits that visit there? You have any, what I call fae folk or luminaries?
Yeah. That's why we tell people not to go in the woods.
Okay.
And I mean, it's it's weird because there's names for, some people say fae, even though you really shouldn't say fae. You should say fair folk. That's like one of those like Celtic things that gets lost in the translation. But I was actually just doing some studies last week on like cryptids of New England and everything. And there's a lot of like creatures that in like the the mythology of the Native American tribes around here that have different names, but are basically fae folk themselves. And just, like the same descriptions and the same activities. So it's, and that's rampant around here with the Metacom and the Pequots and the Mohegans.
Well, tell us about some.
I'm trying to remember the names because they had these long, weird names and I had to write them down.
I'll go with Sasquatch and Wendigo because I know.
No. They were
Canada and West.
No, they were called like Puckmarquois or something like that was one of them. And those are prevalent up in Mass and the area they call the Bridgewater Triangle. But they're like 1 foot tall. They look like little like furry like little sprites or brownies or what you would call them. And they speak a language that no one understands, but it's like some people have said that like when they hear it, it sounds like they're trying to mimic English. But and there's been numerous accounts of people seeing them, both like regular people and like there's like there were like newspaper articles of like state troopers who have seen them.
Do they have the little hats? I know a lot of times when people see the little people, they've got like conical hats on.
Yeah, no hats. No, these look more like they look like wild critters.
Okay. So this is not like gnomes or elves. This is more like a smaller version of Captain Caveman kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good comparison. But yeah, because fair folk usually they never really look completely humanoid from all of the, when you cross over things, when you look at different stories and different lore. Some will say they do, but I mean, there's some that like, you'll get the typical description that you'll hear of like, like Tinkerbell with the wings or whatever. And like most of the time, like you'll read some things in like Irish and British mythology where it's like, yeah, they have wings and they also have like the head of like a wasp. Like, so.
Yeah.
Werewolf cognate, revenant cognate, there's, sort of vampiric. I mean, sometimes those three things are the same. Skinwalkers, witches, they with no disrespect to the Wicca or other witches, but sort of in the generic colloquial term. So, I mean, they've got to be out there as well.
Oh yeah, the first written first documentation of vampires in America was actually in Griswold, Connecticut.
Do tell.
It's so crazy how they can have the same stories about similar beings. Maybe they choose different names for it, but there's no way that those two communities could have ever communicated, could have ever talked. You know what I mean? So that's what trips me out, where there's sightings in places at times and years where they weren't calling each other. They weren't taking planes. Like they never knew each other existed. That's right. Mind blowing.
Right. Well, it's just like how they're in New Hampshire. They have the spot called they call it America's Stonehenge, and it's on the same linear as Woodhenge and Stonehenge over in the Isles. There's actually a spot like that down near the casinos. It's called Gungawamp. It's all like you can tell it was used by an ancient civilization. They found like leather tanning pits and things like that. And they do a little bit at a time of carbon dating, but everything that they've done so far dates way further back than like the first settlers. The carbon dating dates back to like Viking times. So like way further back.
Yeah.
But the things are lined up with like the way the stones are lined up with like with the moon phases and where the stars are, depending on the time of the year.
the equinox or the solstice. I
Yes.
don't know which one it is, but the
There's 2 solstices and two equinoxes.
but there's one where I think they're lined up where the sun rises right between like 2 of the main capstones, or
Yeah. Summer and winter are the solstice, and then fall and spring are the equinox.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess whichever it would be immediately due east on that meridian or latitude.
Yeah, it's the cross quarters.
Yeah, excellent. You rattled off a few names. So obviously you studied in the different osophies. So you anthroposophy, theosophy, probably a few other things. I mean, so which is your favorite school of esoterica, and have you sort of like created your own like omniverse? I mean, because that's sort of what like Blavatsky and people did. They sort of like picked parts of each ones and sort of came up with their version of what they thought the esoteric truth was or story was.
Yeah. So as far as that matter goes, I don't think I have a set black and white set of rules, because I'm always studying, I'm always learning more, and I'm always seeing where things intersect. Like you mentioned convertive religions. Every other year, I actually teach a class, like a very basic class on comparative religions up there at the church, just showing where things intersect. And that's why, like, you need to keep an open mind, because, most religions before the time of the Library of Alexandria, or what they called religions, were all word of mouth. Things were not written down. So it's, there's old legends are still, old legends are passed down. Things kind of get changed. Things get discovered later on. And you just have to keep an open mind to it, because to say, for me to sit and say this and this alone is the way, even though like it's crossed like 7 different paths, like, and they just all have a similar thing, I'm still not going to say this is the one way, because one day I may find out that no, I was completely wrong. It's like the line that Socrates said, I'm trying to paraphrase this correctly, but the basis of knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. Yeah.
Kwon, I'm geeking out here, but I feel like I'm monopolizing this, and I don't want to. You are the special.
I'm absorbing all of it. All right, being able to hear this with people that know about it. That's how I like to learn. That's just like wrestling. I don't want to learn from. I'd rather, what I mean? I said, depending on how you feel about it, I was like, but I'd rather sit and listen to maybe low key watch my match versus like my friend's brother. Right. I mean, like, so like, I'd like to, you guys really, and especially, Joe, like this is it's lively. It's a lifestyle now, so it's like, that's a whole different level of knowledge. Now, like what's the oldest spirit that you think that you've come across? Or
that's a good question. Cause I mean, I've seen some things where I know it wasn't human. I know it was something probably far older. I've done like the whole meditation and vision quest thing. So, like I've had a meditation where I've seen the goddess Kali. So it's, that's a matter of was it in my mind or was it a full on experience? You never quite know.
Was she hot?
She was motherly.
Motherly. Okay. I know she's got like 8 arms and like a different gun in each one. So it's terrifying and blue, but still I'm thinking she might be hot.
How it sounds. Yeah. No, I think about like just the age, just because of the history of how far back, and just your senses are so much more keen now because you almost know what to look like, what to feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what not to feel. So that's a wild road. That's a wild road to go down, to be that close. Cause I feel like the closer you get, the closer they get to you too.
Right. Exactly.
Like their vision clears up with you too, right? Cause but again, you lead with it with respect. So have you ever met, come across they don't care about respect in that way? Like they're just like,
trying to think here. I had like one slight experience. I was at someone's house and they were talking about their place being haunted, and I just, they were saying like some weird things were happening, and like I this is like the first day I'd met this person, so but we're just sitting there talking about it. And I was like, well, if you have an issue, this is what you can do, get some sage, light it, smoke them out, yada, yada. And I heard something like side, like telling me to shut the fuck up. And I was like, no, you shut the fuck up.
Wow.
Well, that doesn't sound like a very old spirit.
Right.
I'm going to get into something very boring because I assume that the church is a 501c3.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I know someone else who's got like a similar type of operation. It's not true. They call it the night side, and her name's Madam X, and it's in New Jersey. Do you guys ever do any work together? I mean, it seems like you are sort of up and down 95-ish.
The name sounds familiar, but I have not actually worked with them. Of course, Madam X is also the name of this bar I used to go to in Manhattan. So
yeah, everybody knows a Madam X from someplace. But yeah, no, it's open for, like she says, everyone. So some people identify as vampires, some people identify as werewolves, some people identify as combinations, witches, but everyone's welcome there. It is a 501c3. I mean, that's what people don't get. This is religion. These are old religions. I mean, you can say what you want about someone identifying as this, that, or the other thing, but these are religions which are, probably much, much, much older definitely much older than any religion that, anyone that we know practices. I mean, I don't think there's any current, what you would think of the major religions, which are newer than, even if there was still a Zoroastrian out there somewhere, that's probably between maybe 3,500 years old.
Yeah.
So, and I think there are some, but I'm sure there's some ancients. You said you were familiar with Strega, which some people call Gypsy or Romani. What are some of the characteristics of Strega?
So Strega actually, it's not that far off from a lot of the Greek stuff. There's a lot of the same practices, a lot of the same names. And Strega's kind of like a halfway point between like the Greek mythology and Italian traditions. There's a lot, like you'd be amazed. That's a lot of people like come to find out that like, oh, they had like, what they would call Romani roots or whatever back in the thing. And it's like, I thought I was Italian. It's because it's kind of the same circles of, when you're talking to your nonna and you're learning how to, do certain things in the kitchen and, learning to plant certain herbs in the garden and all that. They all kind of cross with each other.
That's really cool. So I'm thinking like, you're talking about having ceremonies and warding off vampires and stuff while eating pasta.
For lack of a better term. Sure.
Everything involves red wine and, and olives and olive oil. So it actually is sort of amazing. And if people look, at religions, mythologies, pantheons, whatever, I don't care what word you use. It's startling how similar so many are. And you can go into the whole Joseph Campbell, that there's a few tropes and archetypes and Carl Jung's and this, but whatever the reason or reasons are, there's a lot of similarities. There's usually 1 to 2 primordial beings that are sort of a little bit disinterested or get a little bit disinterested. They have kids who are a little bit more close. Something goes wrong somewhere along the way, somewhere around the 3rd generation, somebody fights a snake or a dragon, which may or may not be their mother or sister or someone from the underworld, usurps their father as the king, and then there's usually some sort of shenanigans where you lead into demigods, which lead into the royal families, and there's often twins, whether they're hero twins or a brother and sister, and the brother and sister might be husband and wife or lovers, and again, not to be sacrilegious, but I'm going to be sacrilegious. What are Adam and Eve if they're not twins? One was literally a clone of the other.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're not the first person I've heard use that comparison. So
that's because I'm not that smart. It's right there. They took a rib. They took the DNA.
It's the world's oldest rib.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Kennedy Jr., Mr. Secretary, they took her in the mRNA and all of the other NAs, and then and created another human. You know, maybe Lilith was there before or not. I mean, that's the thing. One thing I love about the Bible is that, like, if you look at it just for plot holes, the plot holes start right in the beginning. I mean, in one version of creation, God creates man on day 6. The other version, like 2 pages later, creates man and woman on day 2. I mean, come on. And then Cain is like person number 4, kills Abel, and then gets banished to the land of Nod where there's goat herders. Who's herding those goats?
There was too many people on the creative team when they were trying to put it to paper. That was the problem.
That's right. I mean, was this when, like, Vince Russo was doing drugs or something? I mean, what's happening with this storyline?
That's kind of like if you watch if you go on Hulu and you watch History of the World Part 2. They made the Mel Brooks. They made a miniseries, and they do the whole bit with the Council of Nicaea and how they're all just trying to figure out, like, what version of the Bible they want to produce.
That's great. The amount of books that aren't there, and then the others that come in. Like, I'm convinced there's a lot of stuff out there that was fan fiction. There just wasn't such a thing as fan fiction, and is like semi-canonical. I especially love the Ethiopian Bible because they put everything in. It's like, yep, everything counts. And it's just fantastic. I mean, you get the whole, like, Avengers versus Thanos going on like 2 or 3 times. It's coming again. So, I keep getting told that there's a great reset that's going to start in 2027, but it'll be done by 2029 or 2030. So
were we supposed to get one of those in 2012 too?
Yeah, but that's like the Mayan calendar, and they just ran out of rock. And actually, there is another Steely which continued the calendar, which was ignored by that author, but who made the whole hysteria. So people are like, how long are you gonna do the show? I'm like, well, I have to do it until at least 2027 because I need to see this great reset. Because either it's not going to happen, and I'm going to have to reevaluate a lot of things, or as most things do, they sort of reset, and 2012, now 2027 will be 2036 or whatever. Or there's going to be a freaking red dragon with 7 heads and 10 crowns coming out of the earth. And at that point, I know I'm not being raptured, so might as well just
here for it.
Yeah, just sit down and enjoy the terrifying, horrifying view, and and then hope that the Valkyries and then everyone comes down to make a good show of it. See, Kwon, everything's pro wrestling.
Yeah, no, it is. I hear how you're booking the apocalypse right now.
And before we finish tonight, I will tell you, because the way the can of worms got opened up between me and Dose here was that I do have a wrestling ghost story. So let's do it.
Oh no, I got to tell you. Actually, I have a wrestling ghost story now. This is perfect. Okay, so Arena Mexico is haunted, and there's a story that they're telling us about how there was a clown, and he really liked this woman. It was so Arena Mexico used to be this where they had the circus. That's where it used to be. And then, they ended up, he was I think he was like a little person clown, and he really flirted with this girl, and she was just being nice and flirted back. And then he kind of like made a move, and she like denied him. He really, like a small dressing room, and he got really upset, and he hung himself in the dressing room. And I'll open it, and then his dressing room's still there. Like there's like a chair that's there. There's someone put like a rope in there. It's not the same rope, but like it's there. And like there's a lot of energy. There's a woman who walks around in one of the other arenas that we were in, Arena Puebla. We were down there, and there's pictures. They talk about it. The office building. They talk about doors opening. They talk about certain conversations where like they had to kind of earn their respect to work there over like late hours and stuff, and how they have an understanding. But they have pictures of marks on them, like it looks like fingerprints, like almost like someone got grabbed. Wow. And yeah, they have like the woman. It was the woman and then the wife of the owner of the promoter. So I was like, oh, they weren't smiling about it. Like they were like very much like I still like they dream about it still. But now they're kind of on good terms. It was a wild story. Like we're sitting here and we're half hearing it, half being translated, because she was speaking like broken English, and we had both. And we're like, this is a wild way to take in this information, because we were like, what's happening? Where are we sitting right now? Like as we're figuring out, like, you mean right here, like now, like what the, and that's why there's there's a frost on every wall.
I don't practice Santorini. But
Yeah.
who was we? I mean, is that the time where you turn around and you're happy to see Mads Kruger and you want to hold his hand?
No, yeah, sometimes. Because you know who ran down there? Because they were excited to run down there.
The Sinister.
Paul London. Paul London was like, "Oh wait, we got to see it." Paul London and Matt Justice were like, "We have to go see it and take pictures," and they did. And they recorded like movement. It was weird. Like it was weird how yeah, I don't know. So the whole bringing people back, or not bringing people back, but bringing something back with you. Right. How commercialized is that versus what does that mean?
So yeah, that's really commercialized, and it kind of fits in with some things that some people have said about like, oh, if you go to a haunted place, something can attach itself to you, and like, I'm sure there may have been a case here or there where something like that's happened, but in the most case, like a lot of people who know what they're doing, if they're going to a haunted place, they know that they'll usually be carrying something of protection on them, whether it's a rock in their pocket or whether it's a pendant or something. And, you know, that's their shield. And you don't have to worry about things attaching to you. The problem is there's a lot of things that have, come about where like, certain people say like, oh, if you use a Ouija board, something will attach to you. If you use tarot cards, something will attach to you. And it just kind of spirals.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't like Ouija boards myself. I think they're a portal that shouldn't be opened, but that's just me. Some people know what they're doing and have fun.
Ouija boards were invented in Baltimore.
Well, the Milton Bradley, yes, but the original Ouija yes no board, the witch board, was German.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Is it like wildly fucked up that they sell them in like the toy section?
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all horror movies are actually true. We're a bunch of dumbasses. I want to know who were you with? So you said it was London and Justice that you were with. It was just the three of you down there?
No, I didn't go down there. We were like, where are they? Because we were waiting to go. We want to go back, to the hotel, whatever. And they're like, oh, they're going to where the ghost is. And I was like, don't tell me that. I was like, yeah, we have a show tomorrow. Like,
it's not gonna be waiting.
Like, I'll see
Justice. Folks, yeah, I don't know Paul London or Matt Justice, so me just going London or Justice just because I couldn't.
I would love to, man, you would love to talk to Paul London.
I would love to talk to Paul London. I sent him an email. They didn't respond. I don't know what's up.
He likes all this.
It's like not only am I friendly with his current friends from work, but I'm friends with his old friend from work, PJ Black. I mean, you'd think I'd get something, so I don't know, but maybe he senses some bad juju in me. I don't know. Listen, guest, you have a wrestling ghost story and you haven't told it yet, so
yeah,
you're sort of the main event, so I think it's time for the main event.
Okay, so it's something, it's fairly simple, but it's something that's always stuck with me. So what happened was, I've got to give a little bit of build up to this. So one of my mentors, who was my best friend, he was a manager and promoter by the name of Mikey Milano. He passed in 2010. He had a series of strokes and he died. He was in his early 40s. And after he died, I took a year off from the business. I started getting back into it. Just because, it's really rough when, your best friend dies, and it's, and it wasn't quick either. Like, he was in a coma for like 3 weeks, and like I was sitting there in the waiting room every day, like hoping he'd wake up. And yeah,
it's a difference.
Right. Exactly. And like, he was like, he was the best friend to a lot of us when we all trained, because, he opened up, he ran 2 schools and the promotion, like our home promotion, for a long time. So when I started working again, I started working for this company up in Massachusetts, New England Frontier Wrestling, who later became Revival Pro Wrestling. When I first came in, I just did commentary, and then they were like, okay, we want to do like kind of an invasion angle. So I brought in a couple of the guys from, around here, like hard hitting Bobby Ocean and Jose Perez and, and then, we formed a heel stable. We started doing our thing. Almost a year into the run, they decided they wanted to we were getting popular. So they wanted to flip the Sable baby face. So they were like, well, how are we going to do this? And it was coming up on the anniversary of Mike's death, because he died in October. So at the October show, one of our guys put together kind of like a tribute music video for Mike, that's actually still on YouTube to this day. And what we did was we were going to open the show with us, just, paying homage to him and, playing the video. So what happens is, like, literally the show starts dead quiet. We come out, no entrance music. A couple of people are like, boo, because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And all of us, it's like 6 or 7 of us in the stable. We all just get in the ring and we all take a knee, and the lights go out in the gymnasium and the screen comes on and it plays the video. And we just sit there and, just completely dead quiet. And then, finishes, lights come up. People start a Mike Milano chant, clap, clap, clap. And we just kind of leave it at that. And a couple people come over to me afterwards, a couple of the boys, a couple of the crowd during intermission. And they were like, that was a really nice video. They're like, but who is the guy standing behind you? Like, what are you talking about? It's like during the time, like, you had a guy like in a suit standing behind you while you were taking a knee. I'm like, it was just us. And like, I'm telling you, at least 6 people saw Mike standing behind me.
That's fantastic.
While we were all taking a knee during that tribute.
That is, wow.
Yeah.
I got chilled with that. That's crazy.
That's a terrible story. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I mean, one, this can't be easy, but also, I mean, what a perfect story, and probably Mike's perfect remembrance if he was to write it himself a year later, and obviously he agreed, because he did a run-in.
Yeah, exactly. He did one last run-in.
Yeah. I love hearing stories about, like, especially nice stories with those types of experiences, because it confirms more that there's something after this too.
Yeah.
I feel like that whole rebellious part of, just, I would say 9 to 24. I don't know. Right. Just, you go through those phases, right? You question that questioning part, questioning mom, questioning God, questioning the judge, questioning the officer, questioning the teacher. Right. But not knowing when to either stop, or, cause then you start to dismiss good people too, just because like now nothing's, because you're just total with it. So, when you start to doubt the thought of forever, right? That's like, hearing stories like that is like cool, like I remember being younger, I was like, I wish I see a ghost, cause then I know that's next, instead of freaking out about it all the time. But that's cool. And I think also it's also the strength of the friendship and the brotherhood.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing too, that people don't always realize how strong that, like that unity is enough energy to bring, cause I feel like I heard something where there's different forms too. Like sometimes it can be a feeling, but to get it to a form where people saw a man in a suit, that's a lot of energy to bring up that, a visual, right?
Yeah.
Nice. That's
I'd say most ghost stories that I hear from people are actually positive. It seems like the ghost was there because of love, not hate. I mean, I'm sure that there's ghosts that have unresolved business that involves trauma or something, but it seems like there's far more people have the experience of something where it's a sense of warmth or comfort or remembrance or thankfulness. So, maybe like everything else, you only remember the murders in the city, but you don't remember the 900 times you went there. Nothing happened at all, except you had a good time.
Right.
So I think maybe there's something to that. Hope anyway. I mean, especially if there's a forever, you want the forever, like, not to be something that, ruins your disposition and you want to come back and haunt everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you want to play a trick on a friend every now and then, but you don't want them to be scarred for the until it's their turn. You don't want to sort of pay that forward. That's some. I can't even remember the phrase for that. That's a ghost practical joke that that would be your infinity sign. It's continuing loop forever. Joseph, where can people find your business, and where can they find you and support you and follow you and all the other good stuff? I know you talked about your shows earlier, but by all means, man, do it again.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel is Full Circle Radio, or type in Full Circle Radio Network, it will come up. The Facebook page is the Full Circle Radio Network. My Twitter, X, whatever, is JJ_Alexander. And if you are in the New England area and you are looking into what I've mentioned here, it's churchofeternallight.com.
Well, listen, I'd love to have you on the regular garden show. We can talk about a little bit more detail about Strega mythology and Celtic, and if you know it's Slavic, because that seems to be the one that nobody wrote down, but there seems to be some answers out there. Yeah, a little bit.
Very little, but a little bit, yeah.
and folks, we've been going an hour, but we went like an hour and 25 minutes last week, which is not a problem. It was terrific, but Kwon's on a hard out. So, Mr. Kwon, middleweight champion, tell people where they can find and follow you.
Oh, man, on X and Instagram right now at _Ikuro Kwon. Check out MLW. Dallas, Texas, September 13th, Viewers Templario, to submit my spot with the middleweight title. But Joseph, it was really we gotta do a part 2, because I have a lot more questions now, and
I'm game.
We're into picking your brain about stuff. It was cool to hear you guys go back and forth, because Jeff knows a lot too. Like, you weirdly know a lot also. It's a lot.
Podcast, man. 6 years ago, I maybe knew 5% of what I know now. And
wow.
Like your quote was, I know how much I don't know, which is, well, I don't know how much I don't know. I know that I don't know a lot. And that's the scary part. And I'm not talking about like math and things that I suck at.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention. I've got something in the woodworks. I've got something in the pipeline. It's happening in 2 weeks. I'm actually going to be doing an interview with Chris McKittrell, who is the actual heir to Ed and Lorraine Warren's legacy. He's their grandson, and he's the one that's continuing on all of their stuff.
And the Warrens, they're the couple from the Conjuring, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Whose house just got sold to fucking Matt Rife.
That's right.
Wow. Because the son-in-law is a grifter.
Well, there you go. I mean,
yeah.
At some point, the money runs out. Paranormal investigations turns out is not that lucrative for generational wealth. I guess.
Oh, not at all.
So if any of you want to follow me, I mean, first of all, we should talk to our erstwhile regular co-host, Mr. Thomas, if he ever comes back. But you can follow him on the Twitter, and I think Instagram is the same as @MochaTraps. So give him a follow. He's trying to do the social media a little bit more, as is our man Ikuro also.
Trying.
I mean, especially now that you've got like a movie star in the Marvel franchise as one of your friends from work. All these AEW people going, I didn't know the Paul Walter Hauser could wrestle. Well, if you're a real wrestling fan like you pretend you are, you would have known for the last 2.5 years he's been putting in the work and grinding. So listen, so there is. I'm not big on celebrities in wrestling, but if you put the work in, you're gonna get that respect from me. And he's done it. He's a big star, and apparently he's like really nice and stuff like that too, which is
great guy.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. It's crazy. All right, so if you want to follow me, you can follow Paul Walter Hauser and pretend he's me, because I'm short and fat too. But if you want it to be me, you can find me at @dose_evil. Garden of Thought. You'll get this show, The Gospel of Thomas, or the Kwon Chronicles, and 2 Garden of Thought shows. Usually you get 3 shows a week, and it's sort of like if you turn on the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, 7 p.m. and leave it on until 3 or 4 in the morning. You get that kind of landscape, though. Sometimes you'll get strangely intellectual ones on topics of law and business and realpolitik, and it'll get real. But I promise you, I have no business having the quality of guests that I have, but somehow I do. So if you want an encyclopedia of everything, you're welcome, world. It's there. And every now and then you'll get me trying to, fix up Charles Mackenzie or some other sort of nonsense, or, find out ghost stories about little people in Arena, Mexico that hung themselves after getting rejected by, a college girl or something. All right. Mr. Kwon, I know you got to go. Thank you so much again for stepping in for Thomas. I don't know if he's ever going to come back. He may just turn the show over to you. I mean, I know he likes me because he texted me today unprompted. So but yeah, we can work in a rotation. I'm sort of getting used to you. I sort of like hanging out with you. So, and Joseph, it was a real pleasure. Font of knowledge. I love all the stuff that you're into, and I feel like we could probably talk forever, and it wouldn't even need to be recorded. But why waste it on not recording?
Pleasure to be here.
All right, and thanks to the people of Wrestling Soup for putting this show on their platform as well. And one day it might be on the YouTube channel as well, which will be very cool as well. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You're going to hear from us later on in the week, one way or another. Thanks to Joseph J. Alexander. Hopefully your promotion stops the hiatus pretty soon and you can ride the wave. Thank you to the 808 champion. Successful defense September 13th. Fightland in Dallas, Texas. Get your tickets. There are no bad seats at an MLW show. No bad seats. And plenty of unique opportunities. All right, everyone. Drink some Don Gatto. Have fun.